2010 was a weird time for me as a consumer of cartoons in that I was gradually ceasing to be that. Almost like dominoes, one by one, the cartoons I came to Cartoon Network for fell. The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy in 2007, Codename Kids Next Door in 2008, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends in 2009, and Chowder in 2010. The same year that birthed the era of Cartoon Network that would, at my age of 13, find me pushed away from the network. It's not that I thought the new generation of shows, the likes of Adventure Time, Gumball, and Regular Show, were bad, but somehow they just weren't clicking. And when you're in middle school, you think you're too cool for cartoons, and it's around then you try more mature stuff before you realize you still love cartoons. What I'm trying to say is, I did not watch Regular Show when it first started. I caught and enjoyed the odd episode here and there, but only grew to really devour it in order after doing the same with J.G. Quintel's subsequent project, Close Enough, when it recently unearthed. And as much as I feel as though I was missing out all this time, I think this is for the better, because I certainly did not need Regular Show when I was a preteen the way I do now. Regular Show is a series about Mordecai and Rigby, two adolescents working a day-to-day for their local park, taking orders from their boss and resolving general management and sanitation issues. What I did not mention is the fact that Mordecai and Rigby are a blue jay and a raccoon, their boss is an irate gumball machine, and the issues they have to clean up consist of giant monsters, insidious anime geese, and universal video game champions. The conceit of Regular Show was its title being an utmost misnomer. Regular Show was unapologetically bizarre, outlandish, and crude, and despite its overall vibe, picking up a primarily older audience, the show really thrived for 8 seasons. And you can pin this success with teen to young adult demographics on the stonerish tones and occasional use of colorful language such as freakin'. Regular Show deals with mundane situations, tax audits, park fairs, and real estate. But in a manner brazenly strange and over the top, Regular Show feels almost autobiographical, strictly in the situations involved as opposed to their execution, because who hasn't dealt with work-related fitness tests or making it to a coveted food truck on the clock? When the sheer absurdity and meta elements of Regular Show start to kick in, the episodes feel like stories you'd tell about your insane workday, but hyperbolized by your own words. Haven't you ever sat down with your pals to share how, dude, my boss kept barking orders, demand after demand rolling out his mouth, like he's some kind of choleric gumball machine of requests? And, I had to work with my worst coworker. He's practically this obnoxious yelling goblin, and his best buddy who exists exclusively to float around and give them high fives. And an audit almost destroyed us. And then the creepy wallpaper guy was a monster. It's as if these episodes are the literal illustrations of our own exaggerations of the events of a totally regular day. And there's real artistry to that. I've noticed that even though Regular Show isn't necessarily what one thinks of as a show that makes one hungry, a lot of the plots surround food. Excellent, the ultimatum, the inferno, wings, and this makes me think of how so many workplaces rely on food to keep up workplace morale, as if pizza parties and food trucks will make just enough waves in the mundanity of one's 9 to 5 that it'll all be worth it. And honestly, sometimes the frozen yogurt truck is absolutely the most exciting thing about a workday. So why not blow up these events to be magical obstacles to overcome, the way they appear to be in Regular Show? It's bizarrely easy to accept because of how they feel when they break up the tedium of work. Regular Show is also incredibly referential in its humor, something that can be a death sentence in my book, when an allusion to something is sometimes expected to stand on its own as a joke, but what works exceptionally well about Regular Show's handling of the matter is the context it's placed in, directly interacting with the conflict at the forefront. Hand in hand with the principle that the oddities and chaos of Regular Show are the little things around a workday multiplied by 100, the small touches inspired by wider scopes of media, often anime, film, and video games, feel like the colorings of whatever Mordecai and Rigby are just really into that week, and what a real-life person would imagine their mundane chores looking like. When I had my odd job running trays at the hospital, you can bet I passed time by imagining it was a Pokemon Center, and when I talked to the walkie-talkie while house managing my town's local theater, I was a secret agent delivering intel. Mordecai and Rigby were probably really into Voltron when they fused a family of ducks into a mech to fight their wicked goose opposition. action, and were watching a lot of 70s martial arts movies when they fought a criminal inside a stolen cop car to retrieve their stolen every meat burrito. Just as fittingly, the secondary cast of Regular Show is astronomically more than meets the eye, exactly what we wonder about our most mystifying and sometimes disliked coworkers. Your backbroken boss who loves his management job way too much has got to be some secret rock star. I bet my impossibly competent and shrewd superior is actually some ageless savant with the secret of immortality. And the unfathomably average, nondescript, if not put upon intern is some secret Russian spy. Elements like these make the characters of Regular Show multifaceted and sympathetic, despite seeming like near caricatures at first glance. I think the only way I can further punctuate this point is by dropping the bomb that this batty lollipop man has one of the most emotional arcs in the show, and you'll have no idea how that's possible unless you check it out yourself. It's not a well-kept secret on part of J.G. Quintel that Regular Show is at least somewhat autobiographical, all the way up to J.G. voicing Mordecai. Mordecai is at least a college graduate, a young adult, and it was around this period of time in his own life that J.G. Quintel was friends with Thurop Van Orman, the creator of The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, and Pendleton Ward of Adventure Time fame, fresh out of Cal Arts and thrown into the frying pan of the creative industry. I don't have a ton of sources or the like to speak to this exactly, but I don't think it's a stretch to say that when pursuing artistic passions, you have to take the harder jobs to make ends meet. When I watch Regular Show, I don't see simply mundane chores punctuated by absurd divergent punchlines. I see the plain world through the eyes of a creative. When I see Mordecai and Rigby tasked with cleaning the garage or any other task that makes their job feel like a prison, I see J.G., Van Orman, and Pendleton going through exactly the same thing. And when the supernatural or out-of-this-world elements crash in, I see the world as creative minds such as theirs would. Whether one considers themselves particularly creative or artistic or otherwise, I don't think it's uncommon to bear the grit of handiwork in the daily grind with imagination. To pretend you're carrying out heroics, taking down evil, or that the meal you're waiting for is a magic grand prize. This is the feeling that Regular Show brings to life. The situations and paraphernalia involved are so strangely specific that I can't help but feel I'm watching exactly the fantasies that got J.G. Quintel through his hardest days, and there's some immense comfort to that, to supply myself with the same strength to do the exact same. So when you're comfortable where you are, you've made it and have the job you've been dreaming of, don't be so fast to quash the fantasies swimming around your head on the less fun days. There may be some great stories there.